Okay guys, in my last episode, last video I should say, we covered my method for my process for neck turning, and I left at the end of that video saying that now that the neck turning has all been done, we now have to just close down the neck or the case mouth to the dimensions that we need, and in my case obviously I use a full length bushing die, and I'll just show you the die here. Okay, so this is what the die looks like from Wooden Gunworks. Okay, really nice, well made die actually. Beautiful piece of machined steel, very nice, well put together. Just hear that bushing in there, it's got a bit of float. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is just quickly go through. I've just got some cases I've put aside. I'm just going to show you now going in the die. You don't need to lube these cases now. The cases are as small as they're ever going to be. The walls of the cases are not expanded or anything, so they'll go nice and easy into the die. I have the nitrate bushing in there, and any little bit of oil that's on there or a little bit that's left in the die will just aid that into actually closing down that case neck. So let me just get set up, and I'll just put these through, give you a little quick look, and then we should move on to the main part of the video, which is now going to cover pocket uniforming. Okay, primer pocket uniform. So bear with me and we'll get to it. Okay, so here we have the our case, and we simply just put it in the shell holder, and then all you do is just go straight up. And like I said, the only resistance you're really going to feel from this will be when it goes into that bushing, and that's all it's doing. It's closing down that neck diameter. What I'll also show you as well, I'm just going to zero these calipers out. Okay, and let me just show on there. So now the bushing I use is 288. Let me just show you. Okay, as you can see, 288 on that bushing, on that neck size. Okay, so that case is done, and what I'll do is, because we expanded these excuse me, to fit onto our neck turning pilot, so that is now 1 thou bigger than our bushing size. So that would be just to accommodate that pilot. Okay, so we'll put that through, go straight in, we'll measure that, 288. Okay, so what that actually comes out at, sorry, did I not just mention the size? I did, yes, sorry, it was 1 thou bigger. So we're at 0.289 and a half, 0.290. Okay, so it's roughly around about 1.5 thou near onto 2 thou bigger than what the expansion on that, just to fit that the mandrel. Okay, so that's pretty straightforward on that. Like I say, you don't need to lube the cases or anything. You just put them straight through, and that's all. So when people sort of say, oh, why when they get new cases they full length resize them, well, how can you full length resize a case when it's already smaller than the diameter, the dimensions of the die? So, okay, so all you're doing now is actually closing down that neck to accommodate our projectile. All right, and that's all there is to that bit. So let me get set up, and I'll show you the method I'm going to show you for primer pocket turning or uniforming. So bear with me. Okay guys, there's something else I should have mentioned as well when neck turning. When you decide on how much neck turning you actually want to do on your cases, make sure that you take into account your bushing size, because with me only taking the minimal off this just to remove high spots, I am still getting that 0.288 on the bushing. So if you if you're going to take down to 12 thou or 11 thou, make sure that you realise that you will maybe need to change your bushing, because otherwise you're going to end up with a bushing that's too big. So just, I should have mentioned it before, so I'm mentioning it now. So just so we're clear, if you are neck turning and you're taking down the outside diameter of your neck, make sure you take into account the bushing that you already have, or the one that you will order for your cases. Okay, just a quick point. Okay guys, so now I'll show you the primer pocket uniforming tools that I have. One is from K&M. Most of you probably seen these before, I think. I'll show you that. Okay. And the other one is a 21st century primer pocket tool. This particular one does come with, you can actually change this around, the actual cutter, and you've actually got one for large primer pockets as well. And it's a depth adjustable with kind of a bit of a micrometer type marks there. This one comes preset from the guys at K&M. There is a grub screw here that you can alter the depth, but unless you really know what you're doing, and obviously you got to use either piece of machinery to make sure the depth is exactly, or use a pair of calipers or something like that. But because this one's already set, I use this one on my 223, and this one I use now on I'm going to use now on the 6.5. So let me get this set up, and I'll show you and I'll show you the process that I'm going to actually do. Okay, so here we've got another little bench vise, and what I like to do is I take a Wilson case holder off the Wilson case trimmer, insert my case. Okay, just give it just a little tap, and I put it here in the jaws of the vise. Give it a snug. Then all I'll do with my drill, and there's hardly anything coming off that at all. Okay. I don't know if that's going to pick that up. You can just see some tiny little shavings there. I think that's just about got that. Okay. So that's all we're going to do on that. And just give it a little tap and move on to the next case. Alright. So, very easy, especially when you got it, when you'd have to actually hold them in your hand, as I've done in previous videos. But now that I can just put them through this, it's just a lot easier. Okay, so just line it up. That's all. Okay. Hardly anything at all on that, so I'll show you another one. Okay. Like I said, there's not a lot to see on the actual primer pocket, because I don't really know if that's going to pick that up really anyway. This particular uniformer does leave a bit of a scoring ring actually on the brass. If that bothers you, don't use it. It doesn't bother me, but the K&M one doesn't do that. For some reason, this 21st century one does do that. Not sure why they had to sort of design it that way. I mean, the K&M doesn't seem to do that. But if that bothers you, like I said, don't use it. I like it because I can set the depth on it. And I've actually used it on my 223 cases as well. But I found that when I switched back to using it for this particular brass, I had to set the depth to just make sure it went into the actual bottom corners. Okay, so right, I'll just show you the last one. I'll say there's not a lot to really see here. I mean, you know, you can see the setup, quite straightforward. Nothing at all. Okay, so I mean, that is primer pocket uniforming. Doesn't really get much more complicated than that, I don't think. Having it in a setup like this though certainly makes it easier on your fingers. Okay, just go in. Now that one was a bit more tighter, that one. Now I'm not actually banging these on the table itself, I'm actually banging it on this rubber matting here, so just in case you were worried. Oh, well, I wouldn't be actually denting the mouth otherwise. Let me try and give you a better angle if I can. Okay, so you should have a nice close-up now, I think. Okay, so just get it nice and flat up the back of the case. And that's it. I mean, again, very easy. In past times with my the 223, when I was doing the cases for that, I found that I could get through most of the cases actually with, you know, in my hand holding this case holder. But after, you know, 50 cases and then up to about 100 cases, you know, you're going to start getting a little bit of finger ache and everything else. But this way, it takes all that out of it. Again, you just place it into your shell holder. So just very, very minimal coming out of these particular cases. Okay, there's another one. I mean, this can't be any more easy to do this, really. And that's that. Okay guys, so it's not really difficult, not rocket science as they say. I mean, I can just get through these pretty quickly. And this is the very last one, as I'm sure you got the gist of it by now. And that's it guys, okay? So that is primer pocket uniforming. And that's all I need to do on that. So just bear with me, and so I can just get the camera back onto my face. Okay guys, so basically that is primer pocket uniforming. Not complicated. Once you've got set up right, it's like I said, having a little bench vise like that, put the shell holder in, it takes it all out of the stress of it. No, it's not really, but so that is it for this video. Next step will be the flash hole uniforming, or deburring, or whatever you want to call it. Now for that, excuse me, I'm going to use a 21st century flash hole deburring tool. You can look these up on 21st Century website. I'm not going to do a review about these, but this is the tool I use. It indexes off the floor of the case, goes in, stops at this particular shoulder here, and just gives you a nice sort of square cut off the now it's very hard for me to show you inside there. I've looked in some of these with a magnifying glass. I don't think that's going to pick that up anyway, it's too dark. I can see where that punched hole, it's kind of like jagged all on one side. So this particular tool just cuts it nice and flush. I mean, there's many tools on the market and stuff. I do have one of the other tools, but like I said, this is the main tool I use. And what that does is that goes inside the case, and this is able to spin while this kind of like stays loose in the case. Okay, so that just spins and actually cuts the bottom there. So I'll show you that in the next video. So I'll see you guys on the next one. See you later.